Remember when they started putting warning stickers on records? We're reminiscing about the PMRC and its legacy, plus some songs that they missed that did far more damage. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Anne Murray. And this week in Woo, Twin Flames. It's embarrassing.
Welcome to Pitney and Amelia's Bitchin' Boutique!
We may be awful, but
we're right!
We've been talking about doing a little history lesson for the kids.
Well, things come up sometimes, and we realize that not everybody is as old as us, and they don't all remember.
Yeah. And, and also a nostalgia lesson, a nostalgia trip for, people of our age.
Oh, God, yeah. It's probably going to be way more fun for people our age, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I had a personal encounter with what we're going to talk about recently, because I was going down a nostalgia trip, and I listened to The Manimal.
Oh, Wasp's Manimal?
On the live Wasp album.
Oh, yes.
Where Blackie Lawless talks about the PMRC. Which, if you don't know, it stands for Parents Music Resource Center.
Which, I had to look it up because I couldn't remember. I remembered it was Parents Music, but I couldn't remember RC. And it's like, really? That's really what they went with? Because I didn't remember that. I know,
and that just seems so benign and just so stupid,
It's like Parents Music Record Censorship is what I was thinking, Oh my God.
And what it was...
Did it really... Let me just ask real quick, because the timing of it, was it related to the Satanic Panic of the 80s? Because it feels like it was. Or was it just the general, oh my God, everything's going to damage the children?
I think it was... I don't know if it was related to it per se, but it was definitely part of it, and that it was the symptom of the times.
Because it was video games are going to warp the children. Music is warping the children. I think it was all of that.
Yeah, it was like video games and music and movies and the whole Satanic Panic thing where everything was like satanic cults that we didn't know about it. I mean, it was...
We didn't know about because they didn't fucking exist.
It was just the times.
Yeah.
I think it was just the times. And
yeah. So
the thing about WASP, before we get into it, WASP was a big target of the PMRC.
Yeah.
Which basically was a group that wanted to expose all the evils and indecency in music.
Right. Because heaven forbid anything not be Pat Boone.
Oh, yeah.
Although even Pat Boone did a heavy metal album back then. I know. But that's a whole other thing. And it was pretty awesome. I actually liked it. But
and it seems like Wasp was like number one on their list because of their Fuck Like a Beast song.
Which is so weird because it's like the only thing that made them famous. Because
it's the only thing that made them famous. They were not popular. They never got to be popular.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you 3/4 of their album sales was because the PMRC made such a big stink out of them.
Absolutely. My God.
Because they were Gwar. They were like a cult band.
Right.
They were so over the top and so stupid. And so mediocre that there was a cult following. There was no way they were going to become popular.
And they were kind of like, in terms of like their live shows, I mean, my God, we could probably do a whole episode just about how ridiculous Wasp was. And God, I remember the first time that Pitney saw This Is Spinal Tap, he was dying because so much of like the ridiculousness of Spinal Tap's stage show reminded him of Wasp, like the big
that was real,
the big skull and all that kind of nonsense. But like you'd have someone like Alice Cooper who was very inventive and imaginative and talented, and came up with really creative theatrical things. You have something like Kiss that came up with a way of making everything very big and explosive and whatever. And then you have Wasp who wants to do that, but they're stupid.
And they really are, looking back, they were just really fucking nasty.
They were just trying to come up with, well, what would be shocking? What would be gross?
Because I remember their original stage show, they sang this song Tormentor, which I love the song Tormentor.
Oh, it's fabulous.
Because it's so stupid, but...
Well, they all are.
The stage show part of it really freaked me out because Blackie Lawless simulates rape with a knife codpiece as the stage show.
And didn't they actually have like a woman on a rack?
They have a woman on a torture rack with a hood, and Blackie Lawless rapes her with a knife, and blood goes all over the place.
Oh, God damn it. They're so stupid.
And another, like several years later, another one of their live shows is they would put a live pig on like a hoist thing and kill a live pig with a chainsaw on stage.
Oh, I don't think I knew about that. Oh, my
Which
God.
is really fucking vile.
That's so gross. And it's all because they're just... I mean, the weird thing is that they had just enough talent. Like, just enough. But really, they were so out of their minds in the early days just trying to get attention that they would do shit like that. I mean, oh God, didn't they throw meat into the audience?
He would get these big slabs of meat and then cut them into pieces with the saw on his codpiece and then throw raw meat into the audience, which I'm surprised they even allowed it. They would not allow that now.
So unsanitary. And didn't he drink blood out of a skull?
Oh yeah, he drank
like
blood out of the skull, and oh yeah. But anyway, yeah, so they're pretty vile, and I understand, but it was like, they were so not mainstream popular. But
they weren't injuring any children because no one ever heard of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But pretty much everything else that they did go after was mainstream.
Sure.
You know. But before we get into that, I just got to say, this is just a funny little thing. So the thing about, Blackie Lawless hated the PMRC. And hated the Washington Wives, which is the group of women that started it, right?
Right.
But like on their live album, he does this thing about the PMRC, and they, and he acts all offended. And they say, that WASP stands for "We Are Sexual Perverts," and he says it all bent out of shape. But the fact of the matter is, in the original printing of their first album, around the label, there's an etching that has WASP, and it says, in big letters, it says, "We are sexual perverts."
On the vinyl record?
And they did that as a joke, and then he gets all offended because they're calling WASP that, but that is on the album as a joke.
Right, which I'm sure they did to get attention. And it's totally inspired by the people who thought that KISS stood for Knights in Satan's Service, which it never did.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that they were just trying to be cool.
Oh yeah. And I remember also, like, the Christians at the time were saying that WASP stood for "We Are Satan's People."
Well, that's actually kind of cute.
Yeah, but anyway.
Up with Satan's people.
Enough about WASP. But anyway, so this group, and they had like these, these press conferences, and they would go on talk shows, warning parents about the evils of popular music and how children shouldn't be listening to it. And it was just so stupid.
Now, I only remember Tipper Gore. Al Gore's wife, Tipper.
Yeah, she was like the big one.
But I know there were other ones, and they were wives of politicians, weren't they?
Yeah.
That's why they were the wives. Okay.
Yeah, and it started off with 4, and I'm actually reading what the names of the other ones were because I don't even know.
What are their last names? Maybe I'll...
Tipper Gore, of course. Susan Baker, who was the wife of the Treasury Secretary.
Oh, was it James Baker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pam Howar, Howar, and Sally Nevius.
Oh, I have no idea.
So
Wow.
it was like, yeah, the only one that only ever heard anybody was Tipper Gore.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, they were responsible for, you know how every album that we buy now has the parental advisory sticker on it, the little black and white sticker that's on CDs and stuff?
Yeah.
That started because of them.
Absolutely. That's totally what that is.
So that lasted. So that's kind of funny. But it was kind of funny that they had, this thing called the Filthy 15. And it was like the 15 most vile popular songs of the day that you needed to, like, have your children avoid.
Right.
And like there's some of them are like, one of them, where two of them are a song by Merciful Fate.
Oh, please.
And a song by Venom. And I mean, how not mainstream is that? And how the fuck did they even know about these? And nobody but the hardcores of, like, the stoner kids would listen to Merciful Fate and Venom anyway.
Oh, my God.
Give me a break.
Oh, my God. But they were kind of... Now, it's so... Part of my brain just combines the Satanic Panic bullshit. Were they against Madonna, too? Or was that just the Satanic Panic people? Like, all the Like a Virgin?
Oh, no. They were against Madonna, too.
Right, because she was so filthy.
Because it was, lasciviousness.
Right. I mean...
And actually, Madonna, one of her songs is on the Filthy 15.
Is it Papa Don't Preach? I'm just guessing.
No, it's Dress You Up.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the song Dress You Up by Madonna.
I am running through the lyrics in my head. I can't imagine why.
It's good. I'm going to dress you up in my love all over your body from your head down to your toes.
But
the verses of that song are actually, you've got style. That's what all the... And it's more about, right. It is seriously about dressing.
Right, like you have to be a filthy animal. And then the Dress You Up in
My Love is just sort of a play on that. It's the least sexual thing that she'd ever did.
I was going to say, it's like right up there with like Holiday. It's like, I don't get it. Like, you have to be seriously taking it to that level in order to hear it that way. Like, if what you're thinking is she's smearing her pussy juice all over you, because that's the only thing I can think that they're assuming it is.
Which is totally not what that song is saying.
No, of course not.
But it was funny. And then one of the other songs that this always got, they really hated "We're Not Gonna Take It" by Twisted Sister. Because according to them, it incites violence.
And that's why Dee Snider had to testify before Congress, isn't it?
Yeah, and he did in fact, it is on YouTube.
It's pretty fabulous.
I think he talked for 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know he did. And Frank Zappa did, too.
Yeah.
But I think he really scared people, because he showed up in a suit. I don't think Dee showed up in a suit.
No,
I think he's in a sleeveless tee.
His regular clothes, yeah.
I mean, he didn't have, he wasn't wearing any makeup or anything, I don't think, that day. But
no,
it's definitely worth watching those. Oh, and wait a minute. Didn't John Denver testify? Or was that for something else? I remember John Denver testifying. But
I don't know. But hey, they could have gone after him too, because, allegedly
Rocky Mountain High, baby.
Rocky Mountain High is about drugs, even though it's not.
But he would be a good example of someone who would just think it was stupid. Like, he wasn't being harmed by it. In fact, although no one was actually harmed by it. But he wasn't being harmed by it. But he could still stand up for it because it's bullshit. Oh my God. So
but it's so funny. The Filthy 15 is because it's so basically a big hit list at the time.
Right.
Darling Nikki by Prince, Sugar Walls by Sheena Easton.
Well, sure.
Strap On Robbie Baby by Vanity.
But okay, like, clearly, we know who Vanity is. We all do. But these songs weren't like, they were maybe club hits, but like little, they weren't on the radio. Darling Nikki wasn't on the radio.
No. And most, it's because, and of course it's about sex. It's right. All the music, all the hits in the 70s were about sex, for God's sakes. It's not like that was new.
It's just that they're upset about it right now, and therefore the songs that are right now are the songs that are the bad ones. The songs they liked when they were teenagers don't count. The songs that they're upset about
Tipper
now.
Gore probably fucked Al Gore on the desk while Afternoon Delight was playing. But because that was her era, and it wasn't, that filthy Satan music.
Right.
It was different,
And speaking as someone who was a very innocent child, I didn't know things were filthy. I had no idea. Because when you're a child, you just don't know. And then you look back on it later and go, oh, holy shit.
I know. I remember singing all the songs to all those Kiss records when I was 10 years old. No clue.
It's still one of the proudest things for me was that because you made me into a Kiss fan in my 20s, and that as soon as I heard Nothing to Lose, I knew it was about talking your chick into butt stuff. And I casually mentioned it one day, and you were like, what?
Oh, I had no idea that song was about that until I listened to it. And I was like, oh, yes, it is.
It is so about talking her into anal sex. It is totally about butt stuff. But that's part of why it's great. But don't feel bad. You're not the only person I had to point that out to. Because all of you that listened to them as little children, of course you wouldn't know.
Because it was I know he sings about, the back door. But I thought it was a reference to, he didn't want to be with her anymore, so was sending her out the back door,
Right. Or if you're sneaking around with someone.
Yeah.
I mean, there's old songs from the 20s about backdoor man kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and
but I didn't realize it really is about the back door.
Right. Overtly, it's about, well, I'm sneaking around, so he has to come see her. He has to come in through the back door so people don't see him. But covertly, it was about butt stuff. Because of course it was.
Everything was ridiculous then. Everything.
But now, I could be wrong. I could just be reacting because I didn't know of Two Live Crew until Tipper Gore made damn sure I knew of Two Live Crew.
Mm-hmm.
But Two Live Crew was totally destined to just be really, really filthy and really appreciated by a small group of people. But my God, they were huge. I mean, there was a period where Two Live Crew was a constant conversation in this country.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, they would have never existed outside of their music being played in dance clubs.
Sure.
Had it not been for the PMRC. And they suck. They really suck.
They sucked in the most fabulous way. Because they were so over the top. What was the song about having a sink to wash your dick? What was that song?
Oh, The Fuck Shop.
The Fuck Shop. I mean, come on!
And it's basically a song about fucking in a porno theater.
Right. But they're classy enough to have a sink available to wash your dick off.
And they have a song about, Goldilocks fucking the three bears in rap.
Of course.
I mean, they're stupid.
Oh my God, they were so. And of course, their big hit was Me So Horny. But I still, you know what? I'll still listen to that. Why not?
Oh, that's a good song.
It's fucking great. But one of my favorite things about Two Live Crew is that because they were being discussed so much, and because it was well into the 90s. I mean, this thing was late 80s, early 90s, probably to maybe 95, 96.
I think it died in the mid 90s.
Yeah.
It just says before shutting down mid to late 90s.
Well, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Because the thing was that when I was renting that house on Riverside, we were just down the street from a club that at the time it was called Club XS. And it's one of those places, there's several of them in the Austin area, that the joke is that they were built on an Indian burial ground because no business could ever survive there. Like, that place has been every possible thing you can imagine. But when it was Club XS, there was news footage. Like, every time someone talked about Two Live Crew, there was footage of people like protesting in front of a club where Two Live Crew was playing, and it was Club XS, which was right down the street from my house.
Oh, how fabulous.
And that is one of my favorite. I cannot think of Two Live Crew without thinking of Club XS. What a toilet that place must have been.
I know. And I remember I don't like when I saw Kiss in 83 or 82. No, I guess that was right before PMRC. But when I saw them again, I remember on the Crazy Nights tour in 87, there were people with signs outside, Knights in Satan's Service, like protesting the Kiss concert in Fresno.
Oh, God. And the thing is, Kiss had...
For the whole 3,000 people that were in that 15,000 person auditorium.
Exactly, because there are tons of people who remember Kiss taking their makeup off and as they released the Lick It Up album, and they think Kiss didn't exist again until the reunion tour in 97. Mm-hmm. And so they were nobody. I mean, like, Kiss fans cared, and the rest of the world did not know they were still doing it. Except that there was little attention being given them by people who could have just minded their own goddamn business.
Yeah. Oh, God, what a it was a crazy time. And it just remembers, I know I mentioned this before, but it just, well, like Motley Crue, I'm sure they went after Motley Crue, although Motley Crue never, went after them, right?
Oh, I think they were having too much fun.
Motley Crue was raunchy and nasty, but all music back then was raunchy and nasty.
It was the time of 80s hair metal. I mean, my God, it was fabulous.
When you think about it, half the music in the 70s was raunchy and nasty.
Sure.
And it's funny, and I think it's interesting because in the 90s, when it ended, raunchy and nasty really was not popular anymore.
Right, because
all
grunge...
music became emotional and angsty or sappy lovey-dovey bubblegum.
Right.
Like raunchy and nasty didn't really happen in the 90s.
Right. I mean, it's back now. I mean, it's been back for maybe like the last 10 years maybe, but there was a period there where raunchy and nasty was really not the thing.
But it's funny now that I think about it, because I'm trying to think of because I listened to a lot more music of that time period than I think that you did, or that you do.
Of the 70s, you mean?
No, the 90s and the 2000s.
Oh, yeah, because I stopped listening to anything that was current pretty much, unless it was on the radio when I was working in places that played the radio.
But it's interesting.
That's why I didn't know who Radiohead was for 12 years. Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, not like I'm an expert on music of that era, but the bands that I like, that I've listened to a lot of their stuff, Alice in Chains, Bush, Hole.
Yeah.
Obviously Linkin Park, although they didn't come until 2000.
Right.
But all of their albums, there's not one song about sex on any of those. Which
is weird, because you'd think bands with names like Bush or Hole would have some filthy shit.
Yeah, and it's really, really funny. It's like, yeah, it was like, that just stopped being a topic of music. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I think because...
other than, club hits or whatever, and that's, but
that's totally
even
different.
Madonna stopped being sexually provocative at that time.
That's
because
true.
It wasn't fashionable anymore. Everybody was talking about other things.
Well, and it's true because, the people who had been previously raunchy, the older you get, the less... Well, I mean, it did take Gene Simmons a while to realize maybe he shouldn't sing Christine 16 anymore. But
Well,
but
yeah.
it does happen. It does happen. Eventually you get to an age where you're like, you know what? I have children now, and maybe it's not appropriate for me to sing songs like this. But even the younger people coming up were kind of, and it could, well, there is that kind of thing where everyone rebels against their parents. So if your parents were into the raunchy shit, maybe that's why you're into the Christian pop.
Yeah, but parents, as far as music goes, parents need to shut the fuck up.
Because they know that what they listen to.
Because no matter what it was, what they were listening to when they were young was provocative at the time.
And that's why they liked it.
And they just need to shut the fuck up. And I don't remember who it was. It was somebody, I don't even know, but I remember having this conversation with somebody that I knew. And she was all offended because her daughter had a poster of Kurt Cobain in her bedroom.
Uh-huh.
And she made her daughter take the poster down. But then she thought about it and realized that she was being hypocritical and had a talk with her daughter and gave the daughter the poster back.
That's kind of shocking and good parenting right
With
there.
the reasoning being, she was like, well, I remember that I had posters of Jim Morrison on my wall.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And I was upset because I didn't want my daughter having a poster of some dead junkie. But then I realized that I had posters of Jim Morrison, so I'm being hypocritical and stupid.
Exactly.
So I gave that poster back to my daughter, and I thought that is, because that's so true. Like, even
Absolutely.
my mom, like, really being into Frank Sinatra in the 50s.
Sure.
That was provocative.
That was scandalous. The reason the Bobby Soxers were screaming, and the reason why, like, the girls screaming for the Beatles and shit, it's like, it was because they were so fucking repressed that all that sexual energy came out in screaming and fainting.
And remember, like, they are all bent out of shape because Elvis would shake his pelvis.
And you look at it now and you're like, really? That's making people crazy? Yeah. Oh, God.
So, parents need to shut the fuck up.
True.
Basically.
Oh, yeah. But, while people are looking at, say, the heavy metal or the rap or whatever, while people are pointing fingers at the dangerous, the truth is that some of the most innocuous milquetoast shit, the most romantic, lovely, gentle music that we grew up on truly is what fucking warped our brains.
Oh, yeah.
Because romantic music, if you actually pay attention to the lyrics, and it's the same for, movies and whatever. It's all bullshit. It's all unrealistic bullshit. But but music in particular, because it goes into like poetic, flowery language and because they're singing it, you're just hearing it as a song and you're not realizing they're saying words that are going into a kid's brain. We were taught some really warped shit by really goody two-shoes music. And because we knew we were going to talk about PMRC, we decided that we would pull out some songs that are particularly bad.
Yeah.
I'll just start, Dolly Parton is a goddamn saint, and I love her. And I know, I'm horrible. I'm horrible for suggesting that Dolly Parton would ever sing something that would be harmful to anyone. But I will point out that she did not write this song. And because it's something that kind of popped into my head recently because I've kind of been on a Dolly kick. And just the timing of hearing this song within recent months, I think that's the reason why it clicked. Here You Come Again. The song that made her an even bigger star because it put her on the pop charts, and all of a sudden she became like Dolly Parton. So it's pretty basic, but it's also pretty harmful if you pay attention to it. And it's like, and I'll just say that for me personally, it definitely speaks to the shit that I've had to deal with. Because let me just quickly, just to set a scene, just to make sure that people understand when I'm talking about the lyrics, why I'm hearing it the way I'm hearing it. So if I feel like I bring this up every other episode, but I swear we'll get to a point where I won't have to talk about it all the time. But, I recently escaped from an abusive relationship that was not a romantic relationship. It was only a friendship. But because there was some flirtation in that friendship, which was part of what made it so fun, songs that skew in a romantic direction can still have lyrics that are appropriate, So I'll just set a scene that we can insert this song into. So a little over a year ago, he hadn't spoken to me in a year because he was, abusing me, and he was he was teaching me a lesson and whatever. And I know.
That's what I say.
I know. It's so weird how obvious it all is in retrospect. I had been so positive for months that I was never going to see him again. I was never going to talk to him again. And it was totally over. And I had totally made peace with it, like to the point where I went through a period where I chose to think of him as dead. Like I killed him off in my brain so I could stop being so angry all the time. And then through just sort of, the way life works, suddenly the world put us back together again. And then here you come again. Just when I've begun to get myself together. You waltz right in the door, just like you've done before, and wrap my heart round your little finger.
Yep.
Here you come again. Just when I'm about to make it work without you. You look into my eyes and lie those pretty lies, and pretty soon I'm wondering how I came to doubt you. How the fuck is this even remotely healthy?
Oh, it's not at all. Yeah, and there's a lot of songs like that.
Oh, yeah. All you gotta do, smile that smile, and there go all my defenses. Leave it up to you in a little while. You're messing up my mind. They actually say messing up my mind. And then, of course, here you come again. Looking better than a body has a right to. I mean, that's my favorite line. That is truly my favorite line. But it's like, all you have to do is just walk in here and everything you've done to me just goes away because, oh, you're so cute.
Yep.
And, oh, look, you're back. And, oh, you're being nice to me right now. So suddenly the fact that you got so furious with me that you didn't speak to me for a year doesn't matter because you're back. Oh my God. And I don't want to blame, I can't blame just this song, but a lifetime of this kind of music could not have prepared me better to be the victim of abuse.
Oh, yeah, because it's like a subtle, and I know it can be argued that sort of thing is just like, well, it's just relatable in the real world and what people go through. And yeah, that's true. It's very relatable.
It's relatable because so many relationships are unhealthy.
Yeah, but it's because it's like there's so much that we're bombarded with of these unhealthy, like, relationship norms in music and movies and stuff that's what we think is normal and right. And it's like American society is geared towards unhealthy relationships.
Right. Like we're told I should hate your guts the first time I meet you, and then you should wear me down until I finally give in to you, and that's romantic.
Oh, it's that's like, the plot of every Hallmark movie.
Absolutely. And it's like, if I hate you, if I don't like you right off the bat, that should be a pretty goddamn strong indication that we should not be together. People don't listen to their instincts. People listen to bullshit. And it's like, I think we'd all do a lot better if we didn't do what music and movies told us to do.
Yeah, and I think there's an insidious thing of, like, women need to learn their place. And it's it's always illustrated in romantic songs sung by women, and it's really gross.
Right, because if a man was telling a woman that, people would notice it, I think.
Yeah.
But if a woman is saying, oh, I just need to sit down and shut up and speak when spoken to, then people are like, well, she's just being reasonable.
Yeah, but that brings me to mine.
Yes.
Which is one of our favorite songs because it's so stupid. But that hideous, I've been to paradise, but I've never been to me.
Yes! Oh my god, I love the song!
And I love it too because it makes me laugh.
Hey, lady.
But it really is, I know you're unhappy. I know you're miserable. I know your husband's an asshole. And your life is miserable because you have this kid you didn't want.
Right?
And your life was so fabulous when you were free and an artist. But wait, you think you were happy, but you weren't really happy because what's making you happy is the man that you're unhappy with and the child that feels like a burden because that's life, that's love.
Right. I mean, they literally say that. They literally say it.
It's basically, she was an artist and she was a performer and she had a fabulous life and she was so happy, but oh no, I wasn't really happy.
Right.
And the real insidious, nasty thing about that song, if you think about it on like a spiritual level, I've been to paradise, but I've never been to me.
To me.
That sounds really enlightened.
It does.
But when you look at the song, it's like, when she was visiting her,
right,
and she was happy, that was wrong. She had never really been to her until she gave up her freedom and her happiness
into the chains of marriage. Yes.
For this bad marriage and this kid that she never wanted.
Oh yeah,
because it totally, that's life. That's love.
That's life. That's love, man.
So fucking gross. It's like the marriage and the biological act of birthing a baby. God damn it, that's the end-all be-all of a woman's existence.
Right.
That's what that song says.
And it's almost like she wasted her life having experiences and being independent and seeing the world and having her little love affairs or whatever.
Yeah.
Having great sex all over the world.
Yeah, but oh my god, but that was unhealthy because now...
Because I'm a mommy now.
She's learned her place.
And you're so right about the title. Like, it really does sound very enlightened because implying that paradise is like an external, I was seeking all this external stuff, but I never thought about who I was and that paradise is in me. And
yeah.
And it's like, and to some extent there's no place like home, but it's still like, that she's not being introspective. She's acting like she's being introspective,
yeah.
But she's really just convincing herself that the bullshit she settled for is good.
Yeah. And I guess, this isn't so, and I just remember like, kind of in the same vein as Having My Baby.
And we love that. We sing that song as a duet all the time.
Oh, yeah. I remember the first time I heard that song, oddly enough, the first time I heard it was in my 5th grade classroom.
Really?
When we were doing some sort of like art or something and the teacher had the radio on.
Right.
And I just remember laughing my ass off over that song. Because I was young and it was like, oh, having a baby, ha ha ha. And I didn't realize like, the thing of it. But it's also like, it is, I guess it's romantic. And I guess it's the love.
For a song that alludes to abortion, it's pretty romantic.
Yes. And I guess it's, but I don't know. To me, it's just gross.
It's creepy. Granted, it definitely is reflection of reality in a lot of things, but it's making it like, I knocked you up. These are two people who had absolutely no intention of having a baby. That is the story.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, let's get married because I got you pregnant, and let's pretend that we're in love because of this thing inside you.
Yeah.
You know?
Didn't have to keep it. Wouldn't put you through it. Could have swept it from my life, but you wouldn't do it.
And it's really funny that it's like that you're having my baby.
I'm a woman in love and a lover's got
Yeah, it's
to
not like
me.
we're having a baby, we're having our baby. You're having my baby.
That's right. Oh, aren't you beautiful because you're having my baby?
Yeah, because
The seed inside you. I can see it growing.
Yeah, the whole thing is just so gross. It's just so gross.
It's so gross. And yet, it's so awesome.
It's just, I don't know. And maybe it really was written with really romantic intentions, but
it was kind of shocking, I think, at the time.
It just seems desperate, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I bet it was as revolutionary a song as when Loretta Lynn did The Pill. I bet it was right around that level.
Oh, yeah.
Because, oh my God, I can't believe someone's singing about extramarital sex or premarital sex.
Oh, I know, but oh my God, but, yeah, it's almost like, is that song a reaction to it? Because you better keep it, and we better stay together because,
right.
This dime a dozen accidental thing that happened is also important and special.
Right.
Give me a break.
Like, yeah, this beautiful romantic song is the result of I didn't pull out fast enough.
Yeah.
Do you read books? Do you live by small bodies of water surrounded by trees and other wildlife? Is that geese shit? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, you have found a home here at the Brook Reading Podcast. Each week, I read a book while nestled in my small New Jersey apartment and gaze out the window at a brook. Then I jump online, talk about it, ask for your opinions, and bitch about something for approximately 5 minutes. If you would like to join this madness, check out the Brook Reading Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, or on the Radio Public app. Let's step into some animal feces together.
Anyway, what's your next one?
Oh God. Okay, so this one's big. This is a big song. And the sad thing is this is one of the ones that falls into the I love to sing this category because it's, I'm a big in the car kind of singer. I'm a big shower singer. I sing really loud and really well when no one's around. It's very rare that someone actually hears me singing.
Oh, me too.
Oh my God. And then on rare occasions when someone actually does hear me sing and they're like shocked, like they didn't know I could sing. And I'm like, well, when was I ever going to sing in front of you?
You're right.
But from the Broadway musical Dreamgirls, the classic And I Am Telling You I'm Not Going, which, if you're listening to this podcast, you pretty much have to know this song because either you're old enough that you saw Jennifer Holliday do it on the Tonys and it blew your wig off, or you saw the Dreamgirls movie and Jennifer Hudson was like amazing, or any of 1,000 drag queens lip syncing it with like everything they have, But the thing about this song, and not everyone knows the story behind the song. I mean, the song itself is already, a little problematic, as the kids would say. But if you know what this song is in the story and what's happening that makes her sing this, it becomes even weirder because what people want you to believe is that Effie is standing in her power when she sings this song, when she belts this song out, and she's declaring her love for Curtis, and she's so devoted to him. But the thing is, that man is a fucking bastard. I mean, my God. Like, he treats Effie like fucking dirt. Like, he cheats on her. He's a backstabbing piece of shit. He kicks her out of her own group and replaces her with some other bitch that he's fucking. He, at this stage, he is going to leave her. He is going to leave her. And instead of saying, you know what, fine, motherfucker, go, which would have actually been a powerful thing.
Yeah.
What she does is stand there and scream that he can't leave her because she loves him.
Oh, of course.
And this is this song is almost universally held up as like this woman power thing. Like, this is what a strong woman is. And this is, but it's like, this is why women fight so hard to stay with a man who's treating them like shit. Or why a woman, I hate to go back to Dolly Parton for a second, but you get a song like Jolene where it's like, wait, if your man is cheating on you with Jolene, why are you talking to Jolene?
Yeah.
It's not Jolene's fault that your man is cheating on you or that he's into her. It's like, no, you fucking deal with your own shit, But anyway, I am telling you I'm not going. Okay, what's weird about that is he just said he was going, and her response is that, well, I'm not going. It's like, okay, well, that's not. If it's I'm telling you you're not going, I mean that, but that doesn't sound as powerful.
It's a celebration of codependency.
Oh my God, yeah. She's telling you she's not going. You're the best man I'll ever know. Is he? Is he, Effie? There's no way I can ever go. Well, there is, though, because you could just leave. No way. No way, I'm living without you. It's like, okay. I'm not living without you. I don't want to be free. It's like, okay, really? You should, though. You should want to be free from him because he's treated you like shit the whole time. And, I'm staying, and you're gonna love me. It's like, oh, fuck that shit. It's like, oh my God, it's one of the worst.
I've been through that relationship.
Right. And you think back and you're like, why was I, every time it's almost like the worse a relationship is, the harder we cling to it.
Oh yeah, because that just reminds me of JR.
Oh,
he was like, you gotta go. And I was like, but I love you. Mm-hmm. And I know you love me, even though he didn't. And I know you want to be with me, even though he didn't.
Right.
And we're soulmates and we're meant to be together, even though we weren't.
Mm-hmm.
But I was clinging on to this and I would not let it fucking go.
Oh, yeah. And it's bad enough when it's just regular abusive and say in the case of the abusive relationship that I had where he keeps acting like, well, I'm just going to stop talking to you. But then when I finally say, you know what, you're right, let's not talk. Then all of a sudden I'm the asshole and he can't believe that I have the nerve to suggest that maybe we shouldn't talk anymore. But if he had his way, I'd still be there.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't trying to get rid of me, but he sure was sort of acting like he wanted me to go. Anyway.
There's so much dysfunction in music as far as relationships go because relationships are dysfunctional.
Yeah. And if a relationship, there's very few songs that are about functioning happy relationships because they're not exciting and there's no drama. But I tend to be drawn to you get a song, there's the Indigo Girls have a song, and the name of it is escaping me right now. But it's basically, imagine, lesbians are talking about, let's go away for the weekend and let's go camping. And they're just like, it's so nice, you pick me up from work and you've got the weekend bag packed and we're going to go off, we're just going to go away for the weekend. And it's like nothing happens in this song. And it's really, really sweet. But that song really stands out because how many songs like that have you ever heard?
I don't know.
And of
My
course,
repertoire of them is very limited, but I do like them a lot.
well, it's like that was what I think it was one of the things early on that made me realize that, oh, my husband is like a really unusual, unique kind of guy, because he was like a huge Indigo Girls fan.
I know.
Like he leans very strongly towards movies about women, music by women, stories written by women. Like, you know, he all of his best friends are women.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's a pretty good sign.
Yeah, oh gosh, yeah.
That he kind of isn't going to be an asshole, because he actually really thinks women are amazing, and that doesn't happen very often, ladies. We know that.
And he loves me.
Of course.
Which I know was a prerequisite at the time.
Of course it was. I always had a standing rule that it was like I would make it pretty clear to any guy who came along. It's like, you better, if you don't like my friends, you're not going to last, because I'm not giving up them. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Anyway.
But my other song is on the opposite side of that. If, like, we've talked about women singing about, you know, going back to horrible men. Mm-hmm. And being in bad relationships and bad marriages and being unhealthy, but all that matters is to be with that man.
That's right. That man. You have no identity if you don't have that man. That's right.
And maybe those songs would not have to be written so many people can relate to them if men weren't such assholes.
I'm just going to let my silence indicate my agreement.
So the song that I'm going to talk about, and the only reason I'm including it in this is because this is a song I remember from when I was a kid, and I really, really liked it. But I forgot about it for years and years and years until I had heard somebody sing it at the Kerrville Folk Festival.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was like, that is a really, really good song. And at the time, you know, it was like, you know, I'd been drinking and I'd probably smoked a little pot. And I was like, I danced my ass off during this song, because it was like somebody on the main stage did like a 10-minute version of like this 3-minute song from the 70s, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was just dancing my ass off because it's a really, really good song. And I went to go listen to it afterwards, and I was like, oh, this song is really morally bankrupt.
Oh, that bad.
So
okay.
What it is Love the One You're With by Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Oh my God, I love that song!
I love that song.
I've never given that song that much thought, though, and I'm fascinated by revisiting it right now mentally. So let's go. But
if you listen to the lyrics, you know, if you're down and confused and you don't remember who you're talking to, concentration slips away because your baby is so far away.
Oh.
You know, and I think it's, you know, it's being on the road, you're partying, you're fucked up, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I could see that.
But what it really, really goes down to is like your wife is so far away and there's some whore right now backstage that wants to fuck you. So don't worry about your wife and fuck that whore.
I think
that is what that song is about.
I think you're right. I used to think of it in terms of like that unrequited love kind of thing, where like that kind of idea of the one you really love isn't the one you're with right now. Kind of like the way the whole genre of romance is, I'm married to someone, but the person I love is over there, out on the moors or whatever.
See, that's it. But first listen, the chorus makes you think that.
Right.
But with the verses, it's totally...
The verses oh my God, you're so right.
You know, and it's like, there's a girl right next to you, and she's just waiting for something to do.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
And there rose the fisted gloves. Oh my God.
And I mean, I love that song, and it's a fabulous song.
It's so good.
I probably will listen to it and dance around my room later.
Oh, I know. God damn it.
But if you listen to it lyrically, it's like, oh, this song is totally about committing adultery and...
Oh my God! Wow!
You know, but it's also, but that like pretty much sums up the whole 70s rock hippie thing too, because I'm sorry, the sexual revolution was not about women. It was about men fucking as many women as they could.
And convincing, well, and granted, I mean, there is a certain amount of, hey, women, you can have sex and not feel guilty. But it starts, the beginning of it is, we need to convince women that they need to be slutty.
Yeah.
And if you look, and if you think about it, you know, being where we are right now, and you're a person of this time and not that time, it doesn't seem like that. But if you were back then, if you were someone who was born in 1945, you were not born to be a slut. You know, unless you were, you know, the town whore that, you know, is like in every like Frank Capra movie or whatever, you know. But oh Lord.
But yeah, but when I really listened to it, I was
wow.
oh,
That's
this song,
so
that's what this song is about. I mean, still a great song. It's a great party song, you know.
Right. And the important thing is, you know, Tipper Gore loves that song.
That is exactly, yes.
Tipper Gore and all her little friends, they wouldn't dare say that Crosby, Stills, and Nash ever did anything bad, and they would not put a sticker on any one of their albums.
Oh, I know, because
they're fucking Crosby, Stills, and Nash. I mean, Judy Blue Eyes, come on. I mean, yeah, anyway.
But anyway,
wow.
That's like
oh my God. Mind blown.
Breathe deeply. The year of woo.
So, this week in woo, I'm covering a topic I've kind of wanted to do all year, but it was too embarrassing. Like, I didn't want to admit that I knew all about it because I had gotten like tits deep into it. But I came to a realization recently that makes it actually very easy for me to explain, because now I really am an outsider looking at it. And that thing is called the twin flame. Perhaps you've heard of Plato's Symposium, or you might know it as the song The Origin of Love from Hedwig and the Angry Inch. The basic idea is that the humans that are walking around today are the halves of what humans used to be, with 4 legs and 4 arms, etc. And when the gods separated us, tore us in half, we became lonely and spent our lives searching for, you know, the other half of our soul. It's a lovely notion. Well, if you put that into the world of the woo-woo, we've got souls that have been split up and are floating around in the world, reincarnating over and over into different people who may or may not find each other in each incarnation. And if you do find the other half of your soul, it's fucking magic. And they even go so far as to say that it doesn't have to be a physical relationship, because you can have a soulmate who is your great love, but also have this other person out there who carries the other half of your sad little soul, and you love them too because they are you. And there's all this extra shit, like if you look at the clock and it says 11:11, it means an angel's telling you something or whatever. But really the fun part is this totally self-centered notion of how, of course, the time that we're living in is the time when the earth is ascending its vibration, and all the star seeds, remember them? And the archangels and the Atlanteans and whatnot are all going to take us into this new age of the planet. And of course, that also means that more and more people are finding their twin flames every day, and that their love energy is healing the earth and helping to raise the frequency of the blah, blah, blah. I mean, it sounds nice. And it sounds like it wouldn't be harmful. But let me tell you what happened to me. So, y'all know I got out of an abusive relationship earlier this year. And as soon as I realized this shit is toxic, I walked away. And before that moment, I had no idea how fucked up it was. Back in 2019, I had spent a year of him not speaking to me. And that made what would have been a normal depression a lot worse. And a few months into that agonizing separation, I kept feeling this pull towards him. Like I was trying to come to terms with him being gone, but it always felt like he was there, like somehow he surrounded me mentally. He was in my head all the time, and it was unlike anything I'd ever felt before. And like it hurt worse than my mother dying the year before, you know? And I kept thinking there must be something out there that could explain to me what this feeling was. And when you don't know you're in an abusive relationship, you don't go to Google and search for abuse. You search for things like yearning and strong connection. And when I dove into the internet, the first and most prominent thing that came up was twin flames. Tons and tons of it out there. And as soon as I read about it, it was as if they wrote it just for me. I swear, they were describing everything that I was feeling. And what was worse, everything that I imagined he was feeling. It explained why I felt the way I did, and it assured me that it was normal with these special, deep soul connection relationships like ours. They said that it was common to have this runner-chaser dynamic, and it was important to just wait for the runner to come back, and he would come back, and that he was just overwhelmed, because just like I'm feeling all this strong emotion, so is he, and he's scared of it, so he ran, but soon he'll realize that he loves me and needs me, and he'll run right back, and the divine masculine and the divine feminine will be in union, and the planet will rejoice. And see how I'm saying he will come back? Even though they always say it could be either the masculine or the feminine, once they've made that little disclaimer, it is he is the runner and she is the chaser, because they fucking know that it's the woman Googling, "Why does my heart hurt?" sitting there being treated like shit and waiting on some man to realize he loves me. Just like all these fucking love songs we're talking about this week. Now, here are the stages of a, quote, twin flame relationship. You know, all these sites are going to say, this is what happens and this is how to tell that you are in a twin flame relationship. Meeting them hits you hard with like a really strong attraction. And it's good for a bit. And then challenges emerge. Okay, now this all feels kind of normal. And then the test, where one of you gets pissed off and leaves, and the other is left feeling insecure. And then the chase, which is that you run after them and they run farther away. And then the surrender, where you give in to it. And coming home, the happily ever after, the big reward for your obedience and giving yourself over to this cosmic crap idea. Now, how do they know? How do they nail it like they do? Well, first of all, because you ain't Googling, "Why am I so happy?" You're seeking answers because you're miserable. And they're describing a very common relationship pattern, an abusive one. It's all intense and hot and lovey-dovey for a while. And then things get a little tense, but it's still okay. And then he gets mad and leaves because he's being dominant and showing her who's boss. She's cowering and pining and waiting for him to come back because no, there's no way she's living without him. And why is she feeling this pull for him? Is it a psychic connection? Or is it trauma bonding? Is she just deeply connected on a soul level to this guy who is actively demonstrating he doesn't want to be with her? Or has she been conditioned to cater to his every whim and do everything in her power to keep him from getting angry no matter what? Is he scared of emotions? Or is he a person without empathy who can't handle grown-up situations, so he stomps off like a petulant child until he's good and ready to come back and pretend to be sorry? And y'all know me. I don't fall in for this stuff easily. but I was hurting so bad, and it offered me an explanation, and you're not crazy, and I really needed that. The stuff you find out there on Twin Flames reads like a cosmic romance novel version of a terrible, emotionally abusive relationship. Only when you're in the middle of it, you can't see it. And it is telling women that the man who walked out on her and left her crying and alone really does love her, and she needs to be patient no matter what, because he is her cosmic lover, and the health of the planet is depending on her to surrender so they can come into union. I mean, there are so many layers to this birthday cake of bullshit. It's a lovely thought. It is. Finding your other half, that person who's a perfect mirror in which to see yourself. It's damn poetic. Unhealthy, but poetic. And when you add this cosmic hoo-ha on top of it, you put all this pressure on vulnerable people to make it work. Because if this is my twin and we don't come into union, I'm not raising the frequency of the Earth's magnetic field like I'm supposed to. And even if you don't go all the way in for that raising the frequency stuff, you're still hung up on the idea that this is the one. And him being an asshole is just proof that he's your twin. So you better surrender. And anyone telling someone to stay in a shitty relationship for some bullshit woo-woo reason, well, they can fuck all the way off. Okay. This song. In a lot of ways, partly because of who it's by and the time period and everything, this may be sort of the ultimate example, because it is a song that I guarantee you've heard a million times and you never, ever, ever realize this. But it took me hearing it at exactly the right point in my life to realize how fucking dangerous this song is. And that song is You Needed Me by Anne Murray. Now, I hear you all out there. I hear you. How dare you, Amelia? How dare you besmirch the name of beloved Canadian songstress and well-known high school gym teacher Anne Murray. I know. And this song, I mean, it was huge. I even went back and checked because now granted, I was an AM radio baby, that shit is my jam,
Mm-hmm.
That is the music, a big part of my, if it was on the radio, whatever radio station my mother was listening to in the car, that's the music I was raised on. I mean, that's the way most of us were. And it was, I mean, not only was it a #1 hit, I mean, she got a Grammy for it, and she claimed, when I was looking it up, I found out that she knew it was going to be a hit because she claims that she broke down in tears the first time she tried to sing it.
Okay.
And my God, woman, perhaps that could have told you something. Because I can't imagine getting emotional about this song. So I'm willing to bet that she had some shit in her background that made her react so strongly to this. Because, oh my God, you guys. And it is a good example of a song that's utterly innocuous. It's just so sweet and romantic and lovely. But is it, though? Is it? Is it? I submit, Your Honor. Your Honor. That it's not only not sweet and romantic, but it describes perfectly in great detail the story of an abusive protagonist declaring their so-called love for their codependent victim who has a definite rescuer complex. That's why I understand it so much, you see. So here we go. I cried a tear, you wiped it dry. I was confused, you cleared my mind. I sold my soul, You bought it back for me and held me up and gave me dignity. Somehow you needed me. Now let me stop here a second.
And I have this song in my head. You needed
Totally
me.
You do. Totally. I mean, just think about just that verse. I mean, the whole song is this, but I am a fucking mess and you keep fixing my shit. Giving me all this dignity and shit. And then I have the nerve to say, you needed me. The you needed me is really the kicker of this song. So, okay, moving on. Keeping that in mind, we'll move ahead. You gave me strength to stand alone again. To face the world out on my own again. You put me high upon a pedestal. So high that I could almost see eternity. You needed me. And I can't believe it's you. I can't believe it's true. I needed you and you were there. And I'll never leave. Why should I leave? I'd be a fool because I finally found someone who really cares. And aren't I lucky that you're so fucking damaged that you don't even realize that your entire existence is spent taking care of me because I'm such a goddamn mess. And I demand that of you. You held my hand when it was cold. When I was lost, you took me home. You gave me hope when I was at the end and turned my lies back into truth again. You even called me friend. You know, that line really got to me. Doesn't that sound exactly like me? You know, I'm a loser. I'm an asshole. I'm the one who fucks up over and over and over. And there you are behind me with your little broom cleaning up all my mess. You know, and this song, it came out when I was like 9, you know, and that Anne Murray kind of thing and that song in particular was just like a constant loop. I mean,
I know, I remember it. Yeah, I can hear every word when you were reading it of her singing. Oh yeah.
And I mean, like, don't even get me started on the fact that it was sort of like the theme song of Kelly and Morgan on The Guiding Light that one summer, and it would never fucking stopped. It was constantly played, and I probably have heard that song 10,000 times.
Oh God! Oh, me too.
I don't think that that's an exaggeration, and yet I didn't realize there was even possibly anything weird about it until I was 50.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want to know is, can I sue her? Can I sue Anne Murray? Because I think really she should be paying for my therapy. I really, really think that she is responsible in part for how fucked up I am.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not being silent because I'm not paying attention. I'm silent because it's like I'm thinking about that song.
Because you're hearing it. It's just playing.
And
you gave me strength.
Oh yeah, and it's just like I'm so horrible, and it's like this whole thing of needing to be needed is really fundamentally unhealthy.
Because it's not I needed you. That's the thing that kills me. It's not I'm such a mess, I needed you. It's I'm such a mess, you needed me.
Yeah.
It is so fucked up.
I can't even, I know, yeah.
I can't think of a song.
A lot of things.
I mean, this song, however many months ago, that it just popped into my head and became an earworm one day, and I was just like, what the fuck? And I went and I pulled up the lyrics because I hadn't heard it in a bit, and I just read them, and I went, God damn it. And it pisses me off. And yet, I'll just walk around the house singing it because it's pretty.
Yeah.
God damn it. That's how they get you, though. That's how they fucking get you. And yet, Tipper Gore, where the fuck was the sticker on the Anne Murray albums, Tipper Gore? She warped a generation.
Heaven forbid you should celebrate sex and partying and having a good time.
Right.
When music should be all about codependence and women in the woman's place.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my God. Oh. I mean, seriously, the songs we talked about have done far more damage than an entire generation of kids growing up playing Grand Theft Auto.
I know.
Because that shit doesn't cause anything real. But the shit, us having to grow up listening to this music in the 70s, how the hell were any of us going to turn out okay?
I know.
We were flat out told that this was goals.
Well, it's such a product of the time, and it was like all that sappy music was such a rebellion against the rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know, and the rock and roll was all like those songs about like, you know, fucking and partying and cheating on your wife and blah, 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 blah. And then you had the opposite side of the spectrum that was trying to hold up this 50s ideal of what society should be. Which, and that's totally what it was in the minds of the people that were writing it at the time.
Right.
Whether we're aware of it or not.
It's like, because the 50s are great, but not the 50s that's dangerous. The 50s that's nice, where there are no black people.
Oh, yeah,
that
and that's
50s.
totally what, yeah, yeah.
Oh, my God.
And they need to make it, you know, sweet, like it was.
It's that whole father-daughter dance bullshit. Any song that's appropriate for a daddy-daughter dance is automatically suspect.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoy our show, please take a moment to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher.
If you send us a screenshot of your review, we'll send you a Bitchin' Boutique sticker.
Everyone loves stickers! Please subscribe or add us to your favorites wherever you get your podcasts.
Subscribers get new episodes first and are also more attractive.
Drop us a line anytime at PitneyAndAmelia@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you!
Yeah, and basically that song is the vocal equivalent of giving Jerry Falwell a blowjob. You know?
Ew.